Thank you. Good afternoon, and thank you for joining us. I'm Lynn Harris, your 2026 North Carolina Realtors Commercial Committee Chair. The Commercial Committee is excited to host today's commercial education session titled Essential Commercial Real Estate Insights: How to Search, Analyze, and Prospect with RPR. We welcome RPR Training Manager Janelle Vann, who will lead today's session. Janelle will walk us through a comprehensive overview of RPR's commercial tools and resources, including the following: how to access active commercial listings nationwide through RPR's commercial partnerships, analyze traffic counts, nearby businesses, and points of interest, help clients make informed decisions using consumer spending and demographic data, leverage AI-powered tools to summarize and share data with clients, access tenant data, utilize public records data to support prospecting efforts, and create professional, client-friendly reports. There will be a Q&A session at the end of the presentation. However, if you have a question on a topic Janelle is speaking on, please feel free to type it in the Q&A for her to address while she is on that topic. Janelle, thank you for coordinating the session for our North Carolina Realtor members. We look forward to having you guide us through these valuable RPR commercial tools and insights. I will now turn it over to you.
All right. Well, thank you so much for having me today. I sure do appreciate it. Like Lynn said, my name is Janelle Vann. I'm one of the RPR training managers. I'm also a licensed real estate broker down here in Tampa, Florida. Been here for about 35 years, so I'm excited to be with you today. I mentioned the fact that I'm a real estate broker because I've never found a platform that was just so easy to navigate, whether you are practicing commercial or residential, we've got you covered. The RPR platform is going to give you an abundance of research, reports, and marketing materials. So that being said, let's go ahead and get this webinar started. I want to mention before we get started, this is one of 12 different classes that I teach each and every month as part of the RPR webinar series. We're going to be laser focused today on our commercial platform, and I can actually go ahead and kind of customize to your area. I was planning on using the Charlotte demo area, but if anybody has a specific zip code that they would like to share with me, I can really make that your own, and I can kind of customize it to wherever you're physically at and selling real estate. So that being said, let's go ahead and get started here. We're going to cover a lot of information. I only get you for 1 hour. That's why we've gone ahead and hit record on today's session. We are going to begin with our quick agenda. We're going to look for active properties nationwide. You can research commercial property data in RPR, whether you're looking for active listings, pending, or off-market property data. You've got access to all of that here on our site. We've got, like Lynn said, the ability to apply a bunch of different geographies, 15 to be exact, on the RPR map. And what that means is you can apply opportunity zones, zip codes, school zones. If you have an investor looking to be in a specific area, you've got plenty of map tools that can help guide you. But our top two questions that we get from commercial investors, commercial practitioners, they always want to know, especially for retail, what the parking situation is like. What are the traffic counts? In Florida, we get a lot of questions about flood maps, things like that. I'm sure you probably answer some of those questions too. So I'm going to be able to show you on the map some of those different features and also points of interest. And why do I bring up points of interest? Because oftentimes commercial retail investors like to be near like-minded businesses. So if you've got an investor looking to open up maybe Dunkin' Donuts, typically they're going to want to be nearby another coffee shop, a Starbucks, or something like that. So the points of interest we can apply to the map range from daycare centers, medical facilities, restaurants, shopping centers. All of that can be applied to the RPR map. We're also going to analyze some trade area data with consumer and demographic information. I'm going to take you through the 3 different commercial reports that you have access to in RPR. I want to mention that all of our reports are customizable, shareable. You can post, text, email, download, whatever you choose to do. You can add your own custom pages, and then of course you can remove some of the report pages in our reports that you don't want to share. And I'm going to really focus a little bit on our commercial site selection tool. This is one of those things that we hear a lot about from our commercial practitioners, that this saves agents a tremendous amount of money and time. And that's what we're all about here at RPR, trying to help you grow your business, do the best job representing your clients as possible, and just really save yourself a whole bunch of money. So we're going to look at that site selection search. And if you don't know what that means that if you have a buyer interested in opening up a new business model, you can go ahead and apply consumer attributes to the RPR platform. And from there, you can show them on the map based on the consumer attributes of that business model. And I have a good one in mind for you today. You can show them where on the map that business has the greatest chance of success. So we are going to take a look at that today, and I'm excited to be able to present that to you. Now, before we go into the live site, I'm going to go through a few PowerPoint slides just to make sure everybody's on the same page. RPR is Realtors Property Resource, and we are a national database for both residential and commercial properties. Like I mentioned earlier, you can access on-market property data, off-market property information if you're getting ready to go on a listing appointment. And RPR is going to give you all of the research that your clients could possibly need before you get their property on the market or whether you are representing a buyer. So we're going to talk a little bit about the fact that there is no consumer access on the RPR platform. This platform was built exclusively for realtors. There's no additional charge. There's no ads. There's no pop-ups. Nothing that's going to distract you from getting your work done. So I always like to just give everybody a kind of an update of who we are, what we do. It is part of your NAR membership, and it is offered at no additional charge. Whoops, I went too far. Let me go back one step. Now with RPR Commercial, you have 610,000 on-market commercial properties for lease. You also have over 968,000 on-market commercial properties for sale and 58 million off-market commercial properties. So I mention that because if you're struggling with a particular buyer and you can't find them what they're looking for, it's very easy to toggle from active inventory over to the off-market public record database where you may find some opportunity. And also with our off-market commercial properties, that's an outstanding opportunity for you to build a geographic farm list. So if you're looking to grow your business through a direct mail, we have 2,000 mailing labels per month that you get at no additional charge. All you have to do is pay for the cost of the labels and the print, but you can pull all of those property addresses and maybe do some geographic farming here on the RPR site as well. Now, I'm going to go off camera for a little bit and just let's focus on the content. I want to let everybody know out of the gate that there is no direct data input from realtors into RPR. We rely on our data partnerships. So naturally for commercial, those are going to include commercial information exchanges, Crexi, Brevitas, RE Simplify. Also, one of the really cool additional resources that you have access to on our site is CompStack, because it's always a challenge for commercial practitioners to find recently sold and leased comparables. And with CompStack, you have access to see what agents have submitted as recently sold or leased properties. So it's really kind of a unique opportunity for you to research and be able to create a CMA for your commercial clients, whether they're buying or selling. And I'm going to show you where you can access CompStack as well. So remember, there's no direct data input. That means if you see something that's incorrect in RPR, it's being fed to us from someplace. Please let us know about it because we will fix it if we see something that's incorrect. Now, our site selection data, we are going to run through that consumer site selection analysis. That research is going to come to us from a partnership we have with Esri. You also have the ability to access a financial analysis tool, and that is a partnership we have with Valuate. And all of these resources are very easy to access. I'll show you where you can find them. But if you have an investor or a buyer looking to maybe perform a short-term or a long-term investment analysis, you can perform that using our Valuate tool. Now, our traffic counts are going to come to us from a partnership with Calibrate. We've got tenant data. We have climate risk analysis that are property specific. So if that's something that you're interested in creating, I'll show you where you can access that as well. We have a tremendous amount of data coming to us from the U.S. Census Bureau. And for our points of interest, all of those different map resources that you can apply, we rely on our partnership with Precisely to bring you all of that great data. Now, with RPR commercial, like I said, you can search on market, off market. We can perform that strategic site selection. We can pull a custom trade area report. We're going to do that today as well. You also can perform that investment analysis. And like I said, probably the most important thing everybody's looking for is how to grow your business. And we've got a couple of different options for you. I've already mentioned you've got your direct mail if you want to go ahead and access those mailing labels. But then you also have some AI tools and those reports that I mentioned that are ideal for an online campaign or as part of your direct mail campaign. So we're going to talk a little bit more about that. I want to mention before we get started a little bit about the Esri tapestry segmentation and what that really means. It's going to offer you a detailed insight into America's neighborhoods. It's going to be segmented by demographics, socioeconomics, and what you can see on the right of my screen here, median household income, the median age range, total population. And also, I need to give a shout out to our mobile app because all of this great commercial trade area data is also accessible from your mobile app. And what you're seeing down on the bottom right of our screen is an AI icon. So if you want to convert all of this data into a nice script, all you have to do is tap the AI tool. You can create social media posts. You can create a video. You can create a newsletter. All of that can be done from both the desktop and the mobile. So a quick shout out to the mobile app. If you haven't downloaded RPR's mobile app, the QR code is on the right of your screen. You will need your NAR member ID to log in. You would have no issues if you've already set up your RPR account on the desktop because it auto syncs. So a couple of my favorite things to mention on the mobile, obviously, we need it for searching for properties, but beyond that, we need it for the research component. Again, if you have a client and they want to understand traffic counts, points of interest on the map, flood zones, all of that data, tenant data, all of that can be accessed from your mobile app. So definitely take advantage of that. There's the QR code. And one more time, in case you missed it, it's up here on the top of our screen. Now, this is an active listing in my neck of the woods down here in Florida. And I just wanted to screenshot this and show you that over to the left on the mobile, you can research active for lease and public record database. You also have the ability to look at the satellite, the street view, historical listing data, and then again on the mobile app, there's your AI button for you to go ahead and create some of those great scripts that I mentioned earlier. Okay, so my consumer site selection search, we're going to start there. And this is my business model that I picked for you today. So when we create a consumer site selection analysis, we need to ask our clients what are the top 5 attributes of your business model. For this business model, I'm going to use a med spa because it's pretty specific as to who the business owner would be hoping to target. So we've got females, typically of a certain age. We're going to pop in all 4 of these consumer attributes to RPR, and I'm going to show you on the map where our med spa has the greatest chance to succeed. So we want ladies of a certain age. We want them to have lots of disposable income, and we also want to know what they spend their money on. They spend lots of money on, guess what? Themselves. So we're going to take these 4 consumer attributes, pop them into RPR, and I'm going to show you on the map exactly where that perfect location is for our med spa. So at this time, I'm going to bring up the RPR homepage and I'm going to pause and just check in with Lynn and Denise to see if there are any questions I can answer live before we get started. Guess we're all good. Okay, well, we'll go ahead and keep it rolling. Step 1 for every one of my classes, I just always want to remind folks that if you are logged into RPR and you do not see your broker's logo, that just simply means the broker has not set that up for us. So we want to go ahead and have you get in touch with us ASAP to get that broker logo, because when you are creating client-facing content, that logo will appear front and center. And as much as I love our logo, it's not yours, and we want your brokerage to be represented. So step 1, get that broker logo set, and then step 2 is on the top right of our screen. We're going to click into our profile and just make sure everybody's got their profile, photo, personal logo, all that contact information, phone number, email, websites. And then don't forget to include your license number. You worked hard for that. Again, all of this information that I'm showing you will appear on the cover letters of all of the reports and the client facing material that you create here in RPR. Okay, we're going to close that guy out. We're going to head back to the top, and I'm going to begin this class because we have a whole bunch to cover with our research tab. So we're going to go ahead and click into our research tab. Now, I already saw a couple of folks that gave me some great zip codes. So Terry Booker, thank you, 27401. We're going to start, we're going to kind of leap over our property search. We're going to come back to that a little bit later. A lot of this pertains more to our residential clients. So for commercial, we're going to focus on our commercial site selection tool and our commercial trade area data. So based on Terry's suggestion, we're going to start off on our trade area, clicking there. And we're going to go in and enter the 27401 zip code. Now, when I clicked on research commercial trade area, you'll notice I could have entered in a county, a city, or a zip code. Sometimes neighborhood data will come up. Typically, we like to use the zip code level. So let's go ahead and see what's going on in the Greensboro, North Carolina market. 27401 is the zip code. All I had to do was type that in and check it out. We have a lot to look at for this particular zip code. First off, we've got our attribute summary. You'll see the median household income, just about 47,000. Young group up there, median age range is under 27. The total population is 24,000. And then the first dominant segment are college towns. So you guys know this area a little bit better than I do, obviously. I've never been to Greensboro, but you can kind of ask yourself, does this kind of sync up with what you know about that market? Now, as I scroll down, you notice you've got the demographic facts and stats for Greensboro. We can see the age range, marriage rates. Moving on over, I've got education, income levels, economy. I have home values down here. Everybody's always interested in home values. 208.9 is the median estimated home value for that zip code. And then as I scroll down, I've got median list price. And then at the bottom here, you're going to see those Esri tapestry segments that I mentioned in our warm-up. So you've got your top 5 tapestry segments, beginning with the college town. Segment 2 is going to be our metro renters. Segment 3, kids and kin. Now, RPR does not come up with these names. This is something that Esri comes up with, but it gives us a kind of an idea of who's living in this area. What do they do for work? What do they make for money? What's their median net worth? And what are their lifestyle patterns? They shop around for deals, they're using coupons, free shipping, and they tend to opt for environmentally safe, natural, and organic products. So just by running that quick trade area analysis for Greensboro, I was able to come up with all of that great attribute information. Now, what am I going to do with all that info? One thing I want to remind everybody, or maybe I haven't mentioned this, you can also access trade area information from a subject property. So if you're researching an off-market property or an actively listed property, you have the trade area option from your active listings. And I'm going to show you what that looks like here in a little bit. So you've got your trade area data. Above our script writer, which we're going to come back to, is our report option. So if I want to package all of this great information in one beautiful report, let me show you how that works. Click on Create Report. There's my trade area template. It's already going to default to my location. It's got a nice title. Of course, I could change that if I want to. I click on Continue, and every one of our reports in RPR, there's 3 different commercial reports and there's 9 residential reports. Every one of these is going to be laid out exactly the same way. You've got your customization option on the top left, and you'll notice my RPR logo is front and center on my cover letter. But there's the Greensboro, North Carolina map. It's got the zip code. Remember, this is why I mentioned get that broker logo updated. You've got your personal profile information already populated on our report. And then basically every one, let me zoom in a little bit. Every one of these pages is going to include that trade area data that we just looked at for Greensboro. So there's our consumer segmentation. And what really makes this report extra special is as I zoom in, you're going to see the side-by-side comparison, but for every segment, you're going to get a full page detailing what exactly is the college town segment. You've got housing and employment data, lifestyle patterns, key stats, and kind of a write-up of who they are. So for Greensboro, North Carolina, the top dominant segment are our college towns. So we can see rent burdened household, homeownership rates, all of that good information is here. Now, when we go back to the left and I click on customize, that customization is going to control all of the data that you're seeing. So first off, let's say for instance, traffic counts are the most important thing to you and your clients. You can drag and drop these different report elements any way you like. You also can choose what data you want to include or exclude. So let's say, for instance, you're not that super interested in marriage rates. We can just simply unselect that and it's gone. So you have complete customization over your reports in RPR. If you don't like the cover page, maybe you want to change out that photo, it's very easy to do that. You just click on your photos and then you can add your own photos and then you just edit your cover image. So you can make this cover image anything you want. Maybe it's a picture of your little location or a park, whatever you want that to look like. And then you also have the ability to add your own custom pages to our report. So maybe you want to include a resume or client testimonials. So you have complete customization options for the data. You can update your own cover page and you can add your own custom pages. Now, assuming our Greensboro trade area report is good to go, on our blue bar, we can save, share. Now, when I click share, it's given me the option to copy and paste a link to my website, to my blog, or email. Maybe I just want to share this report, or I could post it directly to social media. And one more time, pertaining to the mobile app, you can actually create and share this exact same report from your mobile. So if you are showing property and your buyer has advanced questions about the area, you can generate this report from the mobile, and from mobile you can text it, airdrop it, or even email. And then finally we can download. We can just basically download and look at our finished product. We're going to come back to this because it's going to take a few moments for that trade area to completely finish creating that report for me. So while that's doing the work, I'm going to take you guys back and just go over what I just did. I started off on the RPR homepage. I clicked on research and I went down to my commercial trade areas and then I entered in the zip code and I see Lynn gave me another zip code. So we'll do one more demo, 28401. Find out where that is. We're going to Wilmington. Beautiful little area. So the commercial trade area for Wilmington is going to look a bit different than what we just saw in Greensboro. And then as I scroll down, you're going to see the top tapestry segment for that area is going to be the independent cityscape. And I click view details. There's my side-by-side view. And then of course I can package all of that up again in a nice report. Now, before I move on from trade area data, I want to point out our AI scriptwriter tool. When I click on the AI scriptwriter, in terms of business development, growing your business, you have 6 different action items that you can take advantage of here on our site. First off, with the trade area scriptwriter, let me go back one step. You are only going to see the AI scriptwriter for commercial on the trade area attribute summary. So you have to start with your trade area data. But let's go ahead, click on our scriptwriter and show you what you can do here. We select our tone. It can be professional, conversational, confident, friendly. I tend to be pretty friendly, so we'll leave it at that. Our audience. We can work with investors, tenants, landlords. All of these different audience selections are available for you. Let's go ahead and stick to our investors and developers. Now, all 6 of these action items are going to give you a whole bunch of different options. So let's take a look at our one-page summary and use case scenarios for this. Let me give you 3. First off, when I generate the content for a one-page summary, I could add that to my report. I just showed you that trade area report. I could add a custom page using my AI script. The other cool thing I could do with my executive summary is I could copy and paste this to social media or to my website, or I could just email this to my client if I'm curious or they're curious about what's going on in that market. But take a look at the executive summary for Wilmington, North Carolina. Presents a compelling opportunity for who? Investors and developers seeking to tap into a dynamic and growing market. With a significant population increase of 10.92% and a daytime influx of 12,000 additional people, this area is poised for continued growth and development. So I mentioned you can add this to a resume. I'm sorry, to your reports. You can add this to your website. You also could include this as part of your direct mail campaign. So if that's something that you're interested in doing, you want to create mailing labels, you've got the content that you can include as part of your direct mail campaign. So the goal here with our AI scriptwriter, and I'm going to do one more, is to break down the data and explain specifically what it means to our clients. So one more thing I'm going to do is show you your social media card. When I click on social media card, and even though it says social media, you can use this for your own websites and blogs. Click on Create Social Card, select your background, and look at that beautiful post already. All of the consumer trade area data auto-populated. All I have to do is pick the background that I like. This doesn't seem very Wilmington-ish to me, so I'm going to kind of scroll through and see. I think Wilmington's kind of a beachy town. Am I right? Let's kind of see if we can find a nice little, well, we'll go with this guy here. Wilmington, North Carolina, it's got my personal contact information. This is where your broker logo should appear. And then you've got the multi-unit, single family, daytime population, average household income, unemployment rate, and the median home value. Now you could go ahead and practice with this on your own. I just want to point out that for our AI scriptwriter, again, if you want to create a PowerPoint presentation, if you want to create a quick social video, click on social video. You've got trade area data and the community profile. You select your format, you select your color palette, you select the music that you want, and all you have to do is create the video. It takes less than 2 minutes to create that video, and then you could post that wherever you want. Very cool stuff there from the AI scriptwriter tool. Now let me pause, peek over at the Q&A, see how we're doing. If there are any questions that I can answer live, I will. Otherwise, I'm just going to go ahead and move on. Are we doing okay out there, Lynn?
I think we are. I'm actually trying to follow on as you're doing it and practice while we're talking.
It can be challenging, I know, because we got a
It,
lot to,
it is. It's
it's a
almost it's
lot.
hard to keep up.
Okay, so
I'll
what I
practice
did is
more.
I just was on our homepage. I went to research and I went down to the commercial trade area data. I entered in my zip code. We went to 28401, looked at Wilmington, North Carolina, and from there we created a report and then we looked at our AI scriptwriter tool. So hopefully everybody is all with me on the same page because we are going to go ahead and move on.
Janelle,
Now,
can I ask you a quick question from the
sure.
chat? We have a question in the chat. Does AI scriptwriter have ability to discuss office vacancy or industrial absorption rates?
I do not believe so. Let me go back. No, I don't believe it's going to, it's what it's going to do is talk or break down the data from the trade area. So everything that you see here, let's go to Terry's zip code 27408 one more time, back to Greensboro. All of the data that you see here, and I don't see absorption rates in our demographic facts and stats, all of this consumer segmentation is going to be included in your AI scriptwriter, or you can package this up in a report. But I don't think you're going to have absorption rates available on our site. Maybe that's something I can circle back with whoever asked and do a little bit more research for that specific question. Anything else there, Denise, that you want me to answer live before we move on?
It looks like you're doing a very thorough job. We have no questions currently in the Q&A.
Perfect. Let's go to research, and this is one of my favorite things to show. We are going to get to some property searching, but I love showing our commercial site selection. So remember, my business model that I used was my med spa. So I'm going to click on commercial site selection, and this literally will work wherever you are practicing real estate. But in preparation for today's class, I went ahead and decided I was going to use the Charlotte market to find the perfect areas for that med spa. So I enter in, starting off with the geography. We're going to go to Charlotte, North Carolina. And step 2 is finding the people using the spending and demographic data. So what we need to do is ask our clients, who are you trying to attract to your business? And that's why I chose the med spa, because it's pretty obvious who we're trying to get in there. We want the ladies of a certain age with lots of extra money. We begin with attribute 1, and we start off with who are they? Who they are. We're going to go with our gender, and we're going to select females. We're going to say okay to that, and we're going to add 4 different attributes. So we start off with the ladies, then we go back to who they are, and we want to talk about the age. Now with every pick list that I select, you're going to get another set of options. So this again can apply to any business model. I'm looking for the ladies of a certain age. So I'm going to go with middle-aged, and if we don't know what that is, we can go to the help bubble to the right, and it's folks between the ages of 40 and 59. We say okay to that. We're going to add a couple more criterias. Again, we want to know, what are they spending their money on? So what do they buy? When I select that attribute, I have restaurants, food, miscellaneous, personal care products is what we're going with here. We're going to select personal care products, say okay to that. One more criteria that we really need to firm up is their money. So who they are one more time. The attribute now is going to be income. We're going to go up to our income tab. And again, we're going to get a whole bunch of different options, but my goal here is to find the ladies with high disposable income by percentage. So I select okay. And if you don't know what that means, there's your help bubble again. More than $50,000 annually in disposable income. And again, this is the data source coming to us from the US Census Bureau. I say okay. Now remember, step 1, geography. Step 2, we could choose up to 5 attributes. I chose 4. We're going to go ahead down at the bottom, click on run analysis. Now, if you missed this, remember guys, I have recorded this and we will make sure everybody gets a copy of it. But while this is processing, eventually here in just a few seconds, we're going to get the map. And there it is. Look at beautiful Charlotte, North Carolina. All of these darker purple areas are showing me on the map the prime locations for my med spa based on those consumer attributes. And you might be thinking, well, why? Let's go down here and look. When I get down to my results, I'm looking at Back Creek Church Road in Charlotte, North Carolina, or Barclay Downs in Charlotte, North Carolina. 51% of the folks that live in this particular neighborhood are females. 27% are middle age. They spend $1,847 a year on personal care products, and 81% of these folks have high disposable income by percentage. So it's not just showing you on the map where these locations are, it's explaining to you the why. Why did Dixie Berry Hill come up as one of our perfect locations for our med spa? Now to the left, you'll notice you've got good, better, and the best. I'm just going to unselect the good and the better because I have plenty of really good options here to start searching for properties. So all I have to do is select all, and there they all are, and I could package all of this information in a nice report. Not only can I create a report for my trade area analysis, I also can begin searching for listings. So let's do both. Let's click on our create report. Same thing, we're going to get our site selection template, click on continue, and it's going to give me the same exact format. There's my best places to find customers within Charlotte, North Carolina. I've got the ability to add my custom pages if I want to add that script that I generated. And if I click on customize, there's my site selection. Show me the map. And there it is. All of my neighborhoods that RPR is identifying as ideal for my med spa are now in a beautiful report that I can share with my clients. And you can see I kind of eliminated those other pockets that weren't the prime locations. So all I'm showing my customer is the ideal top locations. And then anytime you create a report, you have your save, share, and your download option. If I click save, I can save this as a draft, or if I click on share, I have a link that I can post to my website or to my blog or to my social media platform. Now, one thing I want to mention, anytime you create a report in RPR and you share a link, the report data will auto refresh every 48 hours. So that means once you've posted that report, whatever report you might be interested in posting, it will auto refresh every 2 days with updated data. Now, with US Census data, that doesn't change a whole lot year over year. I mean, day over day or week over week. So typically you're not going to see a ton of changes, but you will, if you're sending out property information, you're going to see that that data will auto refresh every 2 days. Now, another thing you can do here, if I select all and I'm looking for the best locations, look at here. I can now search for listings in these different areas. So if I click on search for listings, it's going to take me back to my home page. Now, let's talk about our home page. From our location, when I kind of backed into my property search using my site selection, it's pulling in all of those 23 neighborhoods specific for my med spa. But that's not going to work entirely because when I select my property type, it's going to pull in all of these different property types. And we know that maybe industrial space isn't going to be an ideal fit for a med spa. But let's pick a couple that would. Maybe we pick retail, shopping center. Maybe we even pick some office space. And then just to the left of our property type, maybe we don't want properties that are for lease. Maybe we just want active and that's it. From our status type bar, you can search for sale, for lease, or both. You can include both, or you can jump on over to our public records database. I'm going to just go ahead and do a basic search. We've got 23 neighborhoods. We're looking for specifically office, retail, and shopping center. I'm going to set a price parameter. Maybe I'll go all the way up to about $3 million. You can enter in a range, you could enter in square footage, lot size, and you even have more filters over to the right. Now, when I click on my magnifying glass, check it out. I found 19 properties that are all in those perfect neighborhoods for my spa. Whenever we're looking at our search results, over to the right, you have 3 different views. You've got your list view. All of these properties are under that $3 million mark. I've got my side-by-side view, so anytime I'm interested in one of these properties, I just give it a little heart, and from there, I can click on the address and further examine that property. And also, my third view is going to be my map view. So over to the right, there's my map. It's going to start to populate all of these properties, all 19, on my map. So while we're here on the map, let me just point out that anytime you are looking at an RPR map, you have 15 different geographies that you can apply. There's your opportunity zones. If I click on opportunity zones, these are going to be areas that the federal government has determined that if an investor purchases, they may qualify for some financial grant money. So remember, opportunity zones, zip codes, school districts. I'm going to select none. Just remember, every map in RPR is going to have your 15 different geography overlays. And then over to the right, you have all of these different map tools. So there's all 19 properties beautifully laid out for me on the map. Now let's go back one step and let's look at a subject property from here. Now we could do a basic search without our site selection, and I'm going to do that for you before we wrap up today's class. But I wanted to go ahead and kind of pack as much in as I could possibly show you in the time that we have together. We're going to go down here and just pick on this property at 10310. I think it's Kulak Drive. You'll notice under the address it says multiple listings. That means that this property is listed in Crexy. It's actually listed as an active listing, and it's also listed for lease. So we're going to go ahead and close that guy out. When I click on the subject property, now I have zoned in on an area that should be a pretty good area for my med spa. I've got property information, I've got the map, I've got trade area data, and then I can add my own updates. I've got the list price at 630. This property looks like it came on the market 12/1 of 2023. It's been on the market quite some time. I can kind of scroll through and see the different photos here. Looks like a pretty good setup for what I'm trying to accomplish. Now, as I scroll down, you'll also notice that I have another option to open up the map. When I click on the map from a subject property, there's my subject property. Again, every map, you're going to have your geographies, but you have all of the map tools. So if you remember, the top two questions we get from our commercial investors is parking and traffic. So let's go ahead and analyze those two questions right now. From our view, I click on the view, I can change this to a satellite, an aerial, or a road view, and I can kind of zoom right in and see what's going on here on this property. And you know what? I'm looking at pretty good parking space. Now, a satellite view doesn't tell the whole story. You certainly want to do your own research, but it's a good beginning. And at least we're seeing, well, it does look like there's ample parking space. And we were able to determine that using our map views. I'm going to go back to my aerial view and I'm going to zoom out, and it's going to start to apply some of its own points of interest from the aerial view. So if you missed that, I'm on the map tools, I'm over on the right, and I just clicked on the satellite, the aerial, and now I'm back to the road view. Now when I zoom out, if my buyer has questions about the traffic counts in this area, watch this. I go on down to my little driving tool, click on the little car. I could create a buyer search by their requested commute. So if they want to be within 10 minutes of their business that they're opening, or maybe their kid's school, or maybe the airport, whatever the case may be. You also could set up a buyer search by distance, and then we've got our traffic counts. If I click on traffic counts, I click on apply. Look at that, how fast I was able to show my clients that on average about 21,000 cars per day are traveling by, it looks like Mount Holly, Huntersville Road. If I close this guy out, there's another little triangle. I click on it. 48,000 cars per day are traveling by this. It looks like maybe it's interstate here. So there's my subject property. And now I'm able to analyze nearby traffic counts. So when I clicked on the view, I changed it to the satellite view. I looked at parking. I gave it a thumbs up. Then I looked at traffic counts. So we're sitting in a pretty good location for nearby traffic patterns. And then just below our little traffic counts, we've got points of interest. If I click on points of interest, we're looking at a med spa. We can go in here, we can add medical office space. If I click on medical, check it out. All of these little points of interest just started popping up for me. So there's my subject property, and all of these nearby, there's an urgent care. There's I'm not sure what that is, some kind of a medical office. And you've got all of these different points of interest that really do kind of relate specifically to what we're trying to accomplish with our med spa. So remember, everything on the right is always going to be there for you. If I want to just show you one more, let's go ahead and show you unselect medical, and let's just go ahead and add the restaurants and see what's going on. Look at how fast all of this populated. There's my subject property, and there's good old Domino's right across the street. Now I'm going to go over to the right. I'm going to clear this guy out, and I'm going to show you one more cool thing from the map, and that is going to be in our data layers. If I click on data layers, not only can I research demographic indicators, but I also have the ability to look at residential, median estimated property values, and flood zones. Let's click on apply. This guy is sitting smack in the middle of a low risk flood zone, so I'm not too concerned about flood zones or flood insurance for that property. If I go back to my data layers and I want to look at the median estimated property values for the area, I click on OK, and it looks like this is in like maybe the 300 to 330 price range based on my map key. So I'm going to go back over here. I'm going to unselect that, clear that all out, and I'm going to go back to my property information. Now we've got about 15 minutes left. I've got a few more really cool things that I want to show you. Let's scroll down. From a subject property, you've got your map tools. We went through a few of those. You also have your additional resources. So if you are looking to analyze the investment potential, you've got Valuate, there's Crexi, there's CompStack if you want to look for recently sold and leased comps. Now, these are all partnerships, so you will need to probably go ahead and create an account. However, you do have access to these absolutely available to you from any subject property commercial in RPR. And you can always just click on view training if you want to really learn how to use the Valuate product. But it's very, very popular. You can do a long-term hold or a residential flip or a short-term flip. Crexi CompStack. CompStack's going to take you to where you can research recently sold and leased comparables. Millions of vetted comps are going to be available on that platform. And then climate check. Let's say you have a buyer very interested in the climate risk. Click on climate check. It's going to give you a property specific or a zip code specific climate risk snapshot. High risk for heat, rain, drought is pretty high, low fire, and low flood risk. And you can get this entire report for free from your subject properties additional resource. And then as I scroll down, I've got the Crexi listing. I've got it also listed for lease. I've got the listing agent's information. I've got the listing history data. It looks like it came on the market. See, this is a good example. When I first pulled this property, it said it started off in 2023, but now I see it came on the market July 15th, 2025. So this would be a really good time for me to reach out to Shilpa and say, what's happening? What's the history of this subject property? Now, from this property information, you've got your blue bar. Every property in RPR, you're going to see this blue bar. You've got your map again. We've already kind of looked at the property on the map, but you also have your trade area data. So you could click on your trade area information, and there's your scriptwriter tool and your report option. One more time. So anytime you are looking at trade area data, you're going to have that AI scriptwriter. And then finally, under my updates, you can add your own photos, you can add your own notes, or you could go ahead and package all of the information that I just showed you from the property information page on your report. Click on Create Report, and now it's going to default to a property single template. Address is going to auto-populate, and all I have to do is click continue. And remember, these reports are ideal because you can post, you can share to your website, you can access these from the mobile. So if you're out showing property and your buyer has questions that you really weren't quite prepared for, you pull it up on the mobile, you can create this entire report. There's my traffic counts, show the map. Everything that our buyers could possibly want to know about the subject property, the trade area, the consumer segmentation is all available for you on RPR. And all you have to do is figure out what data you want to include before you go ahead and customize and share your report. Now I'm going to pause. I'm going to go home and I'm going to pause for a few seconds here and just see how we're doing out there with the Q&A. Are there any questions?
We do have two questions in the chat. Can you view them, or would you like me to
Let's
read them off?
see. I am looking. I see Mary has a question. I've searched on RPR for CRE before. I'm not sure. Are you talking about Crexi? I'm not quite sure what that question means. Maybe you can clarify. Lynn, are you quite sure what that means?
I'm really not.
I don't know. Okay, if my MLS does not have a commercial information exchange like Moody's to view listings, would the only listings that show in a search are those only on Crexi and CompStack? That's a really good question, and the answer is probably yes. That's why RPR is so valuable, because it's not just relying on MLS data. We have US Census data, and then commercial. Let me say this, with MLSs, we partner with about 96% of the MLSs nationwide. So there is a huge source of our data feed. But from the property that I just showed you, I don't believe it was listed in the MLS. The only thing that came up was Crexy. So it's just a great additional resource. We are not in competition with MLSs. We rely on them and our CIEs to bring us all of the data that you see on our site. Oh, commercial real estate. Okay, Mary, I think I got you. Let's see. You've searched on RPR. Let's go in and do a quick search for Mary. She's not seen all of these resources. So let's go to Stephen Bledsoe. He gave me Rock Hill, South Carolina. So Steve, thank you for that. I'm going to go home and I'm going to do a basic commercial property search. We did a search from our site selection. We kind of figured out where our location was and then we started searching for properties. But that's not always the way we search for inventory. So you have some options here. We click on our location and this time we're going to go to Steve's Rock Hill 29730. We're going to do a basic property search. 29730. Now you'll notice some of my filters have kind of stored from previous. So you go ahead, for sale, for lease, maybe we want to look at both. We only want active listings. We're not looking at showing properties for closed or under contract. And then our property type, we got restaurants, retail, we'll add some office space. Maybe we'll throw in a couple of multifamily units and a shopping center. We'll get rid of our square footage and we're going to see what we've got going on in the Rock Hill, South Carolina area. I click on the magnifying glass. I found 57 properties. Everywhere from 5.7 million all the way down to, I'm not sure how low it goes. But look, whenever we're on our search results, you've got your 3 view options. There's your map view, right? So all 57 properties are on the map. Anything in yellow is for lease. So there's some office space, $1,500 a month. List view, I can sort them by price or days on market or square footage. Or I could just go in here and let's see if we can get lucky and pick a good one here. I'd like to find one that's listed in multiple platforms. This guy here is, but that's for rent. Here's one, office space, Oakland Ave. Multiple listings. This is going to show me that it's in Brevitas and Crexy. And if I scroll over, do I see any more? No, I think that's it. Now, if I want, I pick one of these properties. Let's find something pretty to look at. Well, we'll go with the Ruby Tuesdays on 1410 Old Springdale Road. Now, for this listing, you've got that blue bar. So there's your map location, your trade area data again, and there's your list price. It's retail space. Now, we get this question a lot. How often is listing info updated? This property came on the market April 20th, 2026. There's the owner's name, there's your map again, and for every property that we look at, you're going to have your additional resources just below your map. So there's Crexy, there's Valuate, there's CompStack. Now we have some great training resources. We are not Valuate, these are partners, but if you want to learn more about these 2 resources, I'm going to take you to our learning center where you can kind of take a deeper dive on some of our training that we have put together for you on these 2 products. Okay, so Nathan is the listing agent. There's the agent remarks, property details, no tenant info, ownership facts, legal description, listing history. I even have public record history, deed and tax data. And again, every bit of this information that's available on our property information page can be put together in a report, or I can click on the trade area and kind of analyze what's going on in Steve's neck of the woods. Median household income, all of these high level attributes. And then guess what? There's your scriptwriter tool just to the right. If you do nothing else today, get in there and create a video. It is so cool. It takes 2 minutes and it's fun. And if there are no more questions, maybe I'll go ahead and have time to create a quick video for you guys. Are there any thoughts or questions I can answer?
It looks like we have 2 more questions in the chat.
Okay. Chris wants to know, can you find businesses for sale? So you can go off market and look for off market properties, but actual business opportunities is not a search filter, unfortunately. Sorry about that. And are there, oh, let's see. When you change to commercial, the property types will change. Yes. So let's go here. I had a good question about our home page. And I know I went fast. That's why we recorded it. So please slow me down when you get the recording. If you toggle to residential, the big difference is going to be under your property type. All of the property types that you see here, you can search for residential. But word to the wise, Multifamily and land will often appear in both. So if I go back to the left, toggle to commercial, go back to my property type, there's multifamily and land one more time. Good questions. Before we wrap things up, I want to take you to our help member support. I've seen a lot of questions come in today about accounts. If you have any issues whatsoever, you can call. There's actually live people that answer the phone. They're not bots. You can live chat with our member support. They're up there in Nebraska, or you can email. The other thing I want to point out is on our Learning Center. We mentioned Valuate and I mentioned CompStack. If you click on Learn right here, go down to View More Ways to Learn. Leave this guy. If you are curious about learning about our upcoming class schedule, we do offer national webinars almost every single day, covering a variety of topics. Just click on Webinars by Date. I went through a couple of reports really fast, but we've got a great reports class dedicated to all of our reports. But if you just want to learn more about CompStack, head on down to your topics, click on CompStack, and all of our previous recordings will be stored for you. Maybe you want to learn more about that investment analysis tool. There's your tutorial. There's a webinar replay. So you've got lots of great resources for you on the Learning Center. Well, are there any other thoughts? We've got 4 minutes. Do you guys want me to show you how to create a quick video, or do you guys have a specific question that you want me to show live? Steven's happy, so I'm happy. Thank you for that. If not, I think I'm going to go ahead and create a quick video. What do you guys say? We've got a few more minutes.
Please do so.
Let's do it. Okay, let's go back to Rock Hill. We're going to go to 29730. And remember, just to recap, we started off on our research. We did a trade area analysis. We did a consumer site selection. We did a basic property search for active listings. Let's go to our trade areas for Steve. We'll do 29730, and I'm going to create a quick video for you. Get on over to your scriptwriter tool, over to the right. And this is so much fun because it's really a great way for you to grow your business, post to social media or to your website. You choose your tone, you choose your audience, you choose the data. If you don't want to include housing data, unselect it and it will be removed. Let's click on the social video. Now there's a trade area snapshot that's going to include demographic, income, housing data, but I really love our community profile. It's a story-driven neighborhood narrative. I pick the video format. I'm just going to make it square. Maybe I make it, well, I'll go purple. And then I'll go ahead and select some music, and then I just create my community profile video. It's going to take maybe 25 seconds to generate, and then we'll be able to show that for you live. All you have to do is download it and post it wherever you want. You can use this social media, you can use this to your websites, and we've also got some really exciting new things coming up soon for our website online presence. So be on the lookout for those. We've got some widgets coming your way for some lead generation that I think are going to be real popular. While this is generating, let me peek over at the chat and the Q&A to see if there are any questions that I can answer.
I had a quick question for you just as a follow-up. When you were reviewing reports, is it all reports? If you send a link, is it every report that they'll all refresh within 2 days?
Everyone.
Awesome.
And more commonly for residential, that's more popular because that's where we're talking about multiple property data. Oh, let me be quiet here. Close that guy out and just show you that all I had to do now was download, and then I can copy and paste that to wherever I want. What was that question again? Go ahead. I'm here. I'm listening.
Yeah, I thought you answered about the refreshing the reports.
Oh, more common for residential because we're talking about property data. So But it is for commercial as well. But typically for our residential, when we're doing market activity and we're trying to analyze recently listed, sold properties, so those report links are really, really popular for our residential users, but also for commercial. And remember, that link that I showed you, you can share that wherever you want, and it's going to update every 48 hours, or you can easily email or text those reports. And then before I let you guys go, make sure you set up my markets. This is going to show you a snapshot of the inventory status changes in the last 10 days. So for Charlotte, for 33 new active commercial properties have come on the market in the last 10 days. One is distressed. Anything in red in RPR is a distressed property. So this one is in foreclosure. So just add your zip code or your neighborhood, and let's see, we got one more zip code. We'll go with Yulia 28277. We'll see. Oh, we're going back to Charlotte. We click on save. And now anytime you just want to kind of keep an eye on your local market on your home page, there it is, 28277. Nothing new on the market in the commercial arena. However, if I toggle back up to residential, there's the zip code, 51 new residential properties in the last 10 days. That's it for me, folks. You guys have been wonderful. If there are no other questions, I am happy to stay on if there are questions. Otherwise, I think I'm going to let you guys get on with your day.
Thank you so much, Janelle, for being willing to do this. Very informative again. And thank you, everyone, for attending. I've changed my background screen just to make a plug for the Realtors Convention, which will be held in Wilmington. So hopefully we'll see you at the beach October 8th through the 6th through the 3rd, October 8th through 11th. Those are the
Awesome.
dates.
Well, have
Thank
a
you.
wonderful afternoon, everybody. Thank you for having me, and hopefully I'll see you soon. Bye, guys.